live. She shoots, she scores. Obviously, I'm here Olo today. Jordan's gone and a bunch of other co-hosts, but we still here. We talking hoops, WNBA. We're gonna get straight into it. I want to talk. The first thing I'm going to talk about is Nafisa Collier. She spoke about the rookie class and she spoke about what the rookies actually have been doing against some of the veterans in this game and how they feel like they haven't taken it easy. I want y'all to peep this. This is what she had to say about it. Let me get this clip for y'all.
If like instance you guys can share with the up incoming classes coming into the WNBA.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it on other teams, but we really try to like integrate our rookies into everything. So like I'm inviting them. I think forming that connection off the court is really important, especially for rookies. It's so new and it's hard. Like you're coming from the top of the totem pole to the bottom once again, you know? And so that transition is really hard. Like Jackie mentioned, it's like a week after their college season is over. So I think just kind of trying to get them involved is what we do. And that forms like a really good connection with the rookies. But as far as like, you know, that people are always picking on the rookies, and that was a huge narrative for us this year. Everybody always picks on rookies. They're freshmen. Like it wasn't them personally that we're attacking. It's the rookies. Like they don't know your moves yet. They don't know the nuances of the game. Like, of course, you try to get the easy stuff on them. So I think just naturally, as part of like natural selection, people are going to try to go after rookies. But I think that's fun too.
So just speaking of rookies, I thought it was interesting the fact that obviously Fee spoke about it. It's something if you haven't watched basketball or women's basketball, men's basketball, etc., as soon as they see a rookie on the floor, they always call for a switch up and then they go try and attack them. Fee spoke about this. Obviously, she's trying to say nobody's just like overly trying to just attack rookies because they're rookies, but they are kind of just attacking rookies because they are rookies. So the fact that Fee said this, I just thought it was really interesting to see because not a lot of vets are like willing to admit this. But I love that she was like, yeah, we're going at you. Stop us. We're gonna get these buckets on you, and you got to do what you got to do to kind of, I guess, circumvent that or kind of like stop it. But shout out to Fee for that because it was just really interesting to see that. So they're going at rookies, and if you're not ready to play in this league, and you hit the WNBA or the NBA respectively, they're gonna destroy you. So it's just really that's awesome. I love the fact that she had said that. But that was getting it started. So this is our first piece of good news today. Our first piece of good news today was the day. So James Naismith, if you don't know who he is, he invented basketball. Obviously, he had the peach basket. He had this ball which he created for his class at PE. I believe he was a PE teacher, and he wanted to have a fun way to have his students play basketball. Today was his birthday, and this is the godfather of basketball, essentially. Like, he literally invented the game 163 years ago. Today was his birthday. This picture was colorized. And, shout out to James Naismith because this is a sport that I love and a lot of people who do enjoy watching the sport. So, it goes without saying. A lot of people can say the same thing. They don't know where they would be without the game of basketball, and the fact that obviously he created this wonderful game that we all enjoy watching, speaking, and talking about, and watching. Obviously, it's just been great to see, just in a nutshell. So shout out to James Naismith. Obviously today he's 100. He would be 163 years old, but that's not as far as we're gonna go back. But I appreciate what he's done for the game and everything that he's done for literally basketball. Obviously, if you've been to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, he's there, and for great reason, obviously, because he's been an integral part of the basketball game in this community, in this landscape, and in just life in general. So shout out to James Naismith for all of his contributions to the game of basketball, and we appreciate what you've done. Obviously, you passed, but happy belated, essentially, I guess you could say, in a way. All right, let's move on to our next topic. So that's our first good news topic of the day. All right, what I want to speak about now is that there are a lot of players that are in different countries that have been hooping, and we're gonna talk about a few of them. We're gonna talk about a few of them, and the fact that they've been able to make an impact on their teams, even though that I'm talking about their teams in their respective countries at this moment. The fact that they've been able to make an impact on their teams while making a great living. So this article was written by Noel Dalzell, if you don't know her, she covers all Boston sports and the Connecticut Sun. So shout out to her. Hopefully we get her on the show soon. And this is a small channel, so make sure y'all sub and y'all support. We're gonna open up this YouTube page. This will open up this blog soon for y'all to read, so we can have more stories like this for y'all to kind of watch. It's called thefinal.com, or I'm sorry, but we'll get back to that. Alexis Morris, thank you, JD. Alexis Morris is one of the players that's cooking overseas, and we're gonna speak about some of these players. So one of the players, there's 5 players. So Kelsey Mitchell has been having a great overseas career right now. And the fact that she's in China, she's been hooping. Kennedy Carter is another one that's been hooping. But Kelsey Mitchell, so the title of this article is 5 WNBA stars to watch overseas this season. Alexis Morris, JD, I'm going to go to your point to that. I'm absolutely going to say Kelsey Mitchell. Absolutely going to say Kennedy Carter, Temi Fagbenley, Grace Berger. There's a lot of people to watch. Gabby Williams is another person to obviously put an eye on. We have no clue if she's coming back to the WNBA. I want to say she is, and that's a hopeful more so than anything else. But we don't know. But what we do know is watching her in Olympic competition, she was able to dominate, obviously, for Team France. She was able to have a great season in the WNBA working with the Seattle Storm or playing for the Seattle Storm. So it'd be great to see that. Brianna Jones, who is an upcoming free agent with the Connecticut Sun, I believe she's playing in the Turkish league right now, or she's playing in the Czech Republic basketball league with Isabel Harrison. Monster. Brianna Jones has been a great player in the W. She's a free agent this season. That'll be if there are a lot of teams that could use her services, especially those that don't have a center. She'd be a great pickup for any team, and it'd be really great to see if she does get on a roster moving forward. Natasha Howard, she's playing in the Turkish league. That's another good person to make sure you go take an eye out for. What's good, Nikki? What's good, y'all? And then also Tina Charles. Tina Charles right now is playing for the Turkish Super League. So a few people in Turkey that are playing. And Ezi Magbagor, very underrated player in Ezi Magbagor. Right now, she's also playing in the Czech Republic with Brianna Jones. Again, once they come back overseas, we're going to see how great they do. But it's just been really good to see kind of how a lot of these WNBA stars have kind of transitioned overseas. They're still making an impact. They're making their money. And then they're going to come back ready for the next WNBA season, which I expect every single person that I just named to have a strong next WNBA season because like they've been just hooping on their own. So shout out to all of them. And again, this has been really interesting to see. All right. We're going to move on, though, into our 3 free agents that could, I guess, change free agency. And this article, I'm going to pull up this article right quick for y'all right quick. So this article was wrote by Elaine Blum. And she spoke about 3 free agents that could change the literal landscape of the WNBA. The first one that she mentioned is Satu Sabally of my Dallas Wings. Now, Unicorn is probably one of my favorite players in the game to watch. She is 6'4", 6'5". She can do everything on the court, pass, shoot, or dribble. She's a triple threat. She is a very efficient shooter. She's improved every single game that she's played in. She's improved every single season that she's played in. I appreciate the likes, y'all. And the fact that she has been dominant. She has been dominant at such a young age is really impressive. The only quote unquote, I guess, criticism that I have in her game or anybody might have in her game is the fact that she's quote unquote, she's been hurt. But when she's healthy on the court, she is a problem. And again, that's why she made first team all WNBA. One of the reasons why they said that this could shake up the landscape is if they get a player who's 26 and under, and a Satu Sabally on the Indiana Fever with a Caitlin Clark, with a Leah Boston, with a Nelson, with a Alexi Hall, with or without a Nalissa Smith or a Grace Berger or a Temi Fagbenley. Like the fact that you have a solid core with Caitlin, Aaliyah, and then Lex or even Kelsey, if they decide to bring her back, and then you also bring in a Satu, who's again now you're gonna have two players that are potentially first team all WNBA, and Caitlin Clark and Satu Sabally. And I'll take it a step further. Not only would Aaliyah have the ability to still play center, she could also move off ball. You could put Satu at the 4, or you could put her at the 3. She'd be able to dribble, pass, and shoot, like I said, with Caitlin. So Caitlin will have the ball less in her hands, which will actually help the team because she won't have to feeling like she has to press and make every single play for this team. And she's a 20-point scorer. So she can not, and to take it a step further, she can knock down threes at an efficient clip. She was shooting almost 40% from 3-point line last season. So the fact that you have somebody playing like this next to Caitlin Clark, who I believe is the best point guard in the WNBA, and she's already a dominant factor in her own right, and you're just adding into the mix by bringing in another dominant player like a Satu, that would absolutely shake. It would instantly make Indiana a contender for a championship. That would absolutely rock the WNBA landscape, and that would be the next super team that you would have to look out for, with a Satu, with a Leah, and with a Caitlin. And it will be amazing to see because she can guard multiple positions, especially at the 3 or 4 spot. She can guard 2, she can guard 3, she can guard 4s, and shit, if you wanted her to even guard a 5, that might be a real possibility. So the fact that she's able to do that, it just really be interesting to see. So we'll see about that moving forward. Do you think she makes it to the WNBA? My answer is yes. If you're Macau, if you're speaking about Haley Van Lith, and I'm gonna bring her up a little bit longer or a little bit sooner, I do think Haley will make it to the WNBA. I spoke with Haley Van Lith myself. I've seen her games. Like, I think she's a good pro, or she will be a good pro. We're going to talk about her LSU game. She had a good 20-point game in her first. Like, she's been good. She's a good solid. I think she's going to be a good solid backup point guard in the WNBA. And I mean, like, she's played on the 3-on-3 in the Olympics team. Like, she's been good. Like, and she was probably arguably one of the better teams on the Olympic team herself. All right, Kelsey Plum leaving the Las Vegas Aces. If Kelsey, I've been saying this for a little bit. I'm not saying she will, but I'm saying if you're Kelsey Plum, you already done 1-2 rings with Las Vegas. You're already solidified as one of the better point guards. You made a first team All WNBA. You know for a fact that this team isn't good enough. I'm talking about the Aces are to repeat, or obviously even compete for another chip. Now the question is, if they're not good enough, and you have teams that are willing to pay you, why wouldn't you try and take that offer? Especially if you have the ability to go back to Golden State and play for a market with owners that are going to pay you, that are going to try and push you as their star franchise player. Now, we already have Asia Wilson, who, again, she is the spotlight, and rightfully so, because she is the best player in the league by far. But this might, I don't know what Kelsey's thinking, but this might be her opportunity to, I guess, relive her collegiate days and say, hey, I can dominate on a team, I can score on a team, and I can do this my way, and we could figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And kind of go from there. So it would be really awesome to see what kind of Kelsey Plum decides in the free agency this summer. And then the last one, which you spoke about, the Connecticut Sun, they are absolutely not going to bring back everybody. Brianna Jones is a free agent. DJ Carrington is a free agent. DeWanna Bonner, Alyssa Thomas, Tiffany Mitchell. I mean, the fact that they have about 5 or 6 players on their team that are free agents, we already can see that there's going to be a new team coming back to this season. So it'll be really interesting to see which team kind of stays forward, or I'm sorry, which team in Connecticut kind of gets rebuilt around. I believe they're going to have to sign Carrington again. And if they don't, it will be obviously detrimental to their franchise moving forward in the long term. But we'll see. We'll absolutely see about what Connecticut decides to do moving forward with this team. Tierra, I would invite you, but I'm gonna just decline right quick, and then I'm gonna bring you on a little bit. But I appreciate it though. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what Connecticut does just moving forward, I guess, in that regard, free agency. This team reached the semifinals twice. They've already reached a WNBA finals with Carrington when she was a rookie. So I mean, what they've seen that the core hasn't gotten done, and they've gotten older. So now the question is, do you bring back this core and kind of rebuild and kind of retweak this team around the image that you kind of want it to make? So again, very interesting to see what Connecticut does this offseason. A lot of people feel like the Indiana Fever will be a better team, just because of that simple fact that they already built to win. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see. And drop your comments in the chat. I appreciate that though, y'all. All right. Our next topic of conversation is that Caitlin Clark will be on David Letterman. She'll be speaking with David Letterman. I'm gonna read this. So, WNBA star Caitlin Clark to join David Letterman. This is for a public conversation at Ball State University. Shout out to Indiana. WNBA Rookie of the Year Caitlin Clark will be on stage at Ball State University, and this is occurring on December. And this is with David Letterman, who is an alumni. This is occurring on December 2nd at 7 p.m. It's a part of the David Letterman Distinguished Professional Lecture and Workshop Series. And it further go on and states, the former Late Show host will interview Ms. Clark, who made her WNBA debut in Fever in May after finishing her collegiate basketball career with the Iowa Hawkeyes as the number 1 all-time leading scorer in Division I history. Ms. Clark was the number 1 draft pick. I am interested to see I mean, obviously, I don't think this is gonna be like a late night talk show type of thing, but it'll be very interesting to see what kind of wisdom she has for Ball State. And I've met people from Ball State alumni, so shout out to Ball State for getting Caitlin in the building. Obviously, she's doing her thing, repping Indiana, and kind of get. I love that. I love kind of seeing that. Kind of seeing what she's doing for the fans and everybody in Indiana. So I appreciate that. Obviously, Letterman's hilarious, I believe. So it'll be really, again, it'll be interesting to see how that kind of transpires and take shape and moving forward. I think the point of the deterrent is so she's not. I'm gonna read some. Appreciate it, Riverdance. All right, let's get into our next topic. And again, if it sounds like I'm breezing through, I apologize, y'all. All right, the WNBA lottery is taking place in 11 days. So 11 days from today, I believe, is the 17th. November 17th is the WNBA lottery. We have the Chicago Sky, Dallas Wings, the Washington Mystics, and Los Angeles Sparks. Those are the 4 teams that are competing for the number 1 spot. Obviously, the number 1 draft pick on the board so far on most people's big boards is Paige Beckers. If Chicago were to land the number 1 pick, it will most likely go to Dallas because they have a pick swap. If Washington were to land the number 1 pick, they can go either way with drafting a Paige Beckers or Kiki Ariafin because they both have talented players that can kind of fit both needs on this team. If you're picking up a Kiki, you're gonna pair it with a great big and Stephanie Dolson. Big Mama Steph can stretch the floor, and she could play inside and out, and that's a great complement pairing. And she's a veteran. She's already won. She's proven. That'd be a great pairing and somebody to listen to and learn if you're a Kiki Ariafin. As far as a Paige, if they got Paige in Washington, she'd be the guard running with Ariel Atkins and Brittany Sykes. That would be a great backcourt as well. Ariel Atkins is somebody she could learn from, especially when it comes about being more aggressive. And then let's move on to the next team. So Chicago, I don't believe that y'all have any chance in this world to keep this number 1 pick, because again, if y'all were to get the number 1 pick, Dallas is going to do the pick swap with you, and they're going to end up taking that number 1 pick from you. So we're going to go into the Dallas wing. So if Dallas were to get this pick, you're going to have a Paige Beckers and an Enrique Ogunbowale in the same backcourt. If they can, that right there is arguably one of the best backcourts in the game. The only other backcourt that I probably would kind of push back against would probably be Indiana's with Mitchell and Kelsey. I'm sorry, with Clark and Mitchell. And I told both of them I feel like they have the best backcourt in the game. If they got a Paige and Enrique who made a second team All WNBA and a Paige who a lot of people feel like can make a first or second team All WNBA, I'm not saying it's going to happen next year because I'm not going to compare her to Caitlin. Y'all can do that. I'm not going to do that. But what I am saying is if you have 2 of those guards, a guard like a very efficient guard like a Paige Beckers and a guard like an Enrique who can also score at any drop of the moment, it'll be really interesting to see it'll be honestly, it'd be more than interesting. It'd be great to see what they kind of do with that team. They're going to be playing fast, and Enrique is a type of person that can get downhill. She can hit 3-pointers. Paige is similar, and she can guard multiple positions. So, but moving forward, even taking a step further than that, if they bring back Satu Sabali with Paige, Enrique, and you have a Satu, that core arguably has one of the best cores in the W. You got a second team All WNBA performer in Enrique. You got a first team All WNBA in performer in Satu. And then you arguably have the rookie of the year, upcoming rookie of the year in the Paige Beckers. And then the last team that we're going to speak about, I'm going to get you a comment, Sparky. I got you. The last team we're going to speak about is the Los Angeles Sparks. The Sparks. Now, if the Sparks were to get Paige, it'd be great, obviously, because they need a point guard. They have an Odyssey Sims. They have an Ari McDonald on their roster. Ari McDonald is a great player. I think she could honestly start on most teams in the WNBA. Period. Like, I'm not going to say anything against that. But if Paige were to come in the building, she would probably be starting over Ari. Now, you bring in a Paige. You already have a Cam Brink who's coming back off an injury, and you have a Rakia Jackson. That is a core big 3 that moving forward in the next 5 to 10 years, that's something that you can build around. And if you're LA and if you're Paige, I feel like, obviously with Paige being with Nike and having a lot of marketing deals and being in the public eye already, Los Angeles is a great place for her. And if you're thinking about a foil character to a Caitlin Clark, that'd be a great point guard. Obviously, one is in a Midwest type of town. One is in a very fast-paced type of town like a Los Angeles. So just on those 2 fronts alone, the dynamics of the rivalry, quote unquote, that may or may not be there, it will be great to see. I want to read some of these comments though. Let me read some of these comments. I'm gonna take a little quick break from that. The Sky want Olivia Miles. I mean, yeah, that's cool. If the Sky can pick up an Olivia Miles in the draft, that'd be amazing because she's a pass first point guard that can score. And they need guards that can get Angel open buckets in the open court. They need guards that can get Camila Cardoso buckets in the open court. So it'll be beneficial for them. And she can knock down shots. That's something about her that she could, like Jordan spoke about this yesterday. She could do a lot of things very well. And she's a great guard, honestly. Like, she's a great guard. Let me read this though. What do you think about the Fever getting Phoebich? What about depth on the bench? I don't think the New York Liberty are getting rid of Leonie Phoebich. They just drafted her last year. I don't think that they're gonna get her Sparky. But obviously, if Indiana had her on their team, that'd be a great pickup though. So I don't know if that'll happen. Let me see. Sky have 2 picks and they have max deals that they can work out through free agency. Well, the Sky, it might be in their advantage to just get rid of them picks and okay, a lot of people love these rookies, and I'm not saying that I don't, but GMs are thinking, okay, if we're not getting a generational player in the draft, we're gonna first think about trying to trade the pick and see if we can get an all-star or an all WNBA performer in the building first. Like that, they're thinking of how can we get the best talent in the building first. And the best talent is not going to most of the time. I'm not going to say it, but most of the time it's not a 22-year-old or 21-year-old rookie coming into the WNBA. Most of the time, the best available talent is a player that's proven. And a lot of these small market teams, let me rephrase, they have more time. Actually, yeah, a lot of these small market teams, they have time and they have the patience to kind of bring in players that can develop into their draft or into their team organization because they know that they're not going to get a lot of major free agents because they're a small market team. So their best means is to go to the draft great players, and then re-sign them on their team moving forward. But if you're a Chicago, a Dallas, a Los Angeles, or one of these large market teams, they're thinking, can we trade this pick and can we get somebody because we need to sell tickets? We need to sell TV contracts. They're thinking completely bigger picture. How do we get this person in our building and start winning right now? And we'll see. We'll see a lot about that. Jeloni Cambridge. Yeah, I saw her from Ohio State. Yo, she had a 30-point game on last night, Mickey. First one in Ohio State history from a freshman. They can trade them, but right now Olivia Miles is the next best thing. You got to tell me what you mean by that. But yeah, I did see Jelani Cambridge. She had a 30. I want to say she had a 30-point game for Ohio State last night. So shout out to, again, it's a lot of talented guards in this new WNBA, and the fact that we're gonna be just seeing them evolve over time. All right. If we could speak about now, speaking of talented guards, I got a Dejanay. Yeah, she had 31. That's what I thought, Mickey. Damn, that's 9 points away from a 40 piece as a freshman, bro. That's crazy. All right, Dejanay Carrington. She was posted on a billboard. So Diana Taurasi, we spoke about this yesterday when she put One Last Dance, arguably alluding to her last WNBA season. Carrington had a billboard with Instagram talking about Tell Them with Notes, and shout out to Meta. It says click it or ticket, and that has everything to do with her nickname Seatbelt Carrington, because when she sits in that seat, you're getting strapped up, meaning there's nothing you can do. There are some other notables that had this notes campaign. Numbers are paintings a clear picture. Okay, Asia Wilson, only number that matters is rings. And that's Breanna Stewart. This is all everybody's posting this with Tell Them with Notes. So I appreciate this. Hey, thank you. That's what I thought, Nikki. She is the first freshman to ever have 30 in an open. And that's what I had thought. And we're going to open up the lines real soon. So let me read this. Right now, we don't know if anybody wants to come to the Sky. So Olivia is the blank, the next best thing. Yeah, if nobody wants to come to the Sky, you have to make it you have to make that, you know what I'm saying, your ability to get them to the Sky. That's the whole point. You can't expect players to get, you know what I'm saying? You can't expect rookie. Like, if you get in a rookie, that's one thing. But if you're a player, like if you're a vet, if you're a GM, you're going to want to bring other players into the fold for the Chicago Sky. All right, now we're going to speak quickly about Haley Van Lith. So Haley Van Lith, and again, shout out to Jelani Cambridge, and I appreciate that, Nikki, because she did have a 30-piece, and that's what I thought.
And she said, she's
Van Lith was hooping last night. I want to say she had 27 points. Actually, 21 points, 7 assists, and 6 steals. And this is a good game. Like, ever since the game against Caitlin, where a lot of people were frying her for getting cooked, I mean, y'all got to keep that in perspective. That's Caitlyn. She's going to make everybody look like that for the most part. But Haley Van Lith, I believe Haley will get to the WNBA. I believe she's a great backup point guard. I don't know if she's going to be a starting point guard in the W. I think she'll be. She's already shown the ability to hold her own against competition, no matter what front it is, whether that's in college, whether that's in the Olympics, because she was arguably the best player on that 3-on-3 team this summer in the Olympics. And now, obviously, walking into TCU, they're expecting a lot of things from what she's getting ready to do, and she showed up. She showed up. So I hope, and this is somebody I've spoken with in regards to Haley. I'm hoping that she has a great, obviously, senior season or a great graduate season, and she just gets to the W. I don't know what if you're expecting her to be a first round pick, I wouldn't go that far, but I am hoping that she makes the roster because she is talented enough to play, and she has the ability to hold her own. I think any team that has her on her roster, they're gonna be happy. Like she's gonna put her head down. She's gonna go to work. She's gonna go to practice. She's gonna be high energy. Like she's just an overall good player, and hopefully like she shows it this season. Because that last game against LSU and Iowa, she left a lot of sour taste in people's minds or mouths rather when she was playing against Caitlyn. But again, that's Caitlyn. She's gonna make everybody kind of look like that. But again, I'm hoping for her that she kind of does well this season. So we'll see. Bully says she's fine and she's hooping. I feel you. There we go. Shout out to Haley. Should have stayed at Louisville. Big fish in a small pond. I mean, yeah. I mean, but she wanted to branch out, so I'm not gonna blame anybody for leaving any type of situation they feel like they want to leave in. I've seen athletes don't have to be married to any particular instance. They can leave. That's their choice, right? And that's the beauty of it. If you have the ability to transfer, if you have the ability to get traded or move teams, etc., that's your prerogative. That's your choice. You do what you feel is best to get to where you need to get to. And if Haley felt like it was best for her to go to LSU, obviously after leaving Louisville and then going to a TCU after, so be it. I'm not gonna knock her for that. That's her choice. She needs to stick to being a shooting guard and she'll be fine. I like it. If she's a 2 guard, I like it, honestly. Her at the 2 guard is fine, but she can manage the point. But again, I think she's gonna be a good backup point guard or a good backup guard in the WNBA. I think a lot of people are being a little bit too I think a lot of it just they it's like you have a lot of expectations for her, and it's not like I don't. But again, if you're comparing it to Caitlyn or on the Caitlyn scale, you're not going to measure up. Like, and that's just Caitlyn. Like, it is what it is when it comes to her. All right. Speaking of Caitlyn, that's funny. Speaking of Caitlyn, I want to read this quote from Caitlyn, and this is what she had to say about Stephanie White when she's coming into the building. So she said, "She is a legend here in Indiana. Playing against her, I felt like my teams always had the best scouting reports on us. That speaks to her knowledge of the game and her analytical skills. Clearly, she was on the right track. Hopefully, she knows how to challenge us and she can help us overcome similar challenges." We're going to see this season with the Indiana Fever. We are going to see because Caitlyn, it seems like, wants to get pushed by a coach and she wants to win and she wants to do things the right way, meaning like not run away from the challenge. Go put your head down and go work and go grind for this chip. And we're going to see who Kelly Croscott brings in the building. We're going to see what Stephanie White does with this team in the building. It's a new era. It's a new era in free agency. It's a new era of Fever basketball. It's a new era in women's basketball in general. So we will see. And I'm interested in seeing what I guess what Clark does next season. Last season I predicted, or her rookie season I predicted, she put up 20 and 10. She averaged 19 and 9. This season I honestly think she'll be the first guard to average 25 and 10 in a season. That's what I expect. I expect her to put up at least 25 points per game and 10 assists. But more importantly, I expect her assist to turnover ratio to be at least a 2-to-1, if not a 3-to-1, because I know she's that good and I know she's working on that part of her game. So and especially with Stephanie White in the building, she's not going to allow her to just throw the ball errantly. And I feel like a lot of it just came from her having to press, meaning she had to create the offense for her team, because if she wasn't doing it, then it was difficult for them to do whatever. So, but I feel like a lot of the times now, especially Stephanie White spoke about this, they're going to have a lot more creative play calling. They're going to push up tempo the way Caitlyn likes it, having them sprint, but she's also going to have more structure when it comes to the half court. And that last part right there, having that structure in the backcourt, is going to be the most important thing for Caitlyn to develop as a point guard, or just as a player in general, and for the Fever, obviously. So I don't want to take that out of context too as well. I appreciate that, Riverdance. I appreciate it. I don't think the Fever has that mean dog mentality like Suns players. White should help with defense. Okay, so Stephanie White spoke about the defense. She said that regarding the defense, they're not necessarily trying to become the best defensive team in the league next season, but more so what they want to do is have the ability to get timely stops. And I've been saying that for a minute, and make incremental changes to their defense. Meaning, so if they're the last defensive team, which they're not, they're the worst defensive team, they want to be 2 or 3 spots ahead of where they were last year. And honestly, that's what progression is. It's all about growth. It's all about progression. And if they can get there, then that's the whole point. So we'll see what the Indianapolis Fever does, and y'all know how I like saying Indianapolis. We'll see what they do, kind of, I guess, moving forward. Regarding the defense, but I don't think defense was their quote unquote fatal flaw. I think they lost their playoff game by 4. They lost their playoff game by 4 points. If Caitlin's hitting 2 or 3 of her threes, it's a wrap. So I feel like honestly, what they need more of, more so than the defense, is to protect the basketball. A lot of if okay, so think about it like this. If Caitlin is giving away the ball almost 6 times per game, let's multiply 6 by 3, assuming that all 6 of those shots were 3-pointers made. That's almost 18 to 20 points that you're giving away. And if you're doing it by the 2-point range, that's 12. So you're looking at 12 to 18 points on every given game that you're just giving back to the defense. So it's like you're starting off at a negative 12, or you're starting off at a negative 18, and then you're having to work your way up. If she can even cut that in half to a 3, right, where you're having 3 turnovers, 2.5 turnovers per game, you're only giving away 6 points, right? And that drastically improves your team, and that'll help your defense, because then obviously you guys are going to be settled. But again, I think that the fact that they're going to have the ability to knock down shots and have different players play for this team, I don't think the roster, the way it's constructed, is going to be the final roster. I think we're going to see I think it'll be somebody they're going to get scoop up in free agency. So we'll see. Let me read some of this. Not all turnovers lead to points in the WNBA. I'm not saying that they all do. What I'm saying is you're giving away. That's not what I'm saying, June Doll. What I'm saying is if you are passing the ball away, that's points that your team is not scoring. That's what I'm saying. So what I am saying is if she were to have the ball in those possessions, they would have the opportunity to score those points. And I believe that they can score those points. Yeah, just don't be a bottom defensive 3 team in the league and they'll be all right. I think so. I think they'll probably get to the bottom 5. LSU tanked her draft stock. Glad to see her having success. I don't know if LSU tanked her draft stock or she kind of played. She played with the Sharks. She's playing with 3 other WNBA players. Last year, Poa, Angel Reese, and obviously you got a Flau'jae Johnson and Issa Mar. She was playing with a pool of Sharks. I don't think they tanked her stock. You know who tanked her draft stock? It was Caitlin Clark, and the fact that she put up that 40 piece against LSU and had her going like this. Well, what do I do? You know what I'm saying? That was more of a issue than anything. So I wouldn't say that tanked her draft stock more so than her play. But I am happy to see that she's having a great success with TCU. And we're gonna open up the lines. Y'all can chime in anytime y'all ready to. I'll have y'all chime in. Terry, he's just saying potential points. Yeah, thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. Clark and Mitchell were exhausted. They played 40 minutes. They needed trusted depth to spell them. Yeah, of course. That's one of the other things that I'm stressing. They need a backup point guard. If you're not going to play Grace Berger, let her go play somewhere else and let her go dominate. But if you are going to play her, then let her cook, man. Let this young woman go to work. But more importantly, if you're not, there are some people in the draft. There are people in free agency who you can pick up. There are people in the draft who you can pick up. Sonia Citron and somebody, Hannah Hidalgo. But more importantly, I would go after Natisha Heidemann. That's in free agency. She's a good backup point guard right now for the Minnesota Lynx. I think that'd be a really good guard for Caitlin to kind of grow in her. Natasha Cloud is another good option. Kia Nurse. Odyssey Sims is somebody who I keep stressing that I feel like they would be great to have. Odyssey Sims is a good scoring guard, and she could come in off the bench and she could score you about 20 points, 15. Like, she's good for any type of offensive production. So I think we'll see a whole new defensive team in the new season. I hope not. I hope they don't say, "Oh, we got to be a buckled down defensive team." That's not what I hope. CC tries to take high risk passes that lead to points too. I'd hate to make her that conservative. I don't want her to be conservative at all. What I want her to do is just dial it back a little bit, just somewhat. In the half court setting, just dial it back a little bit. Dial it back, because sometimes sometimes she's making passes where it's like, damn, you don't have to do that right now. Just make the simple play or just shoot the ball. That's another thing where I'm like, just shoot the ball. I'm like, I know you're being nice and you're being she's being unselfish to a fault at times where I'm like, just shoot the ball. Like, Caitlin, you have the ability to knock this shot down. Just shoot the ball. That's what I want to see. That's why I feel like she's going to average 25 and 12 next year, because she's not going to be like, oh, I have to pass or go out of my way to pass to make it seem like, I'm overly unselfish. And like this year, I feel like she deferred, but next year, I feel like next year she's going to walk in the building and just shut this shit down. So hopefully she does do that, but obviously I don't want her to be conservative because they're going to play up tempo, but she has to take care of better care of the basketball. She had that, like, there's nothing that you can say to that. She averaged almost 6 turnovers a game. That's way too much on any type of note. Let me see some more of these comments. Is Van Loo a free agent? Tyler, I'm happy you asked that question. Julie Van Loo is one of the players that I felt like will be a great veteran. Kelly Krauskopf talks about it, bringing in veterans to this team. If you get a Julie Van Loo on this team, that will be a great pickup. I think and this is somebody that's fiery. She's competitive. She's not gonna back down. She could come in. She could hit shots from the 3. She could facilitate an offense. That would be a good backup point guard, honestly. Julie Van Loo. That's somebody I've been trusting too. Savely, if we spoke about her, if she's able to get Savely, and we'll see. Tyrese, what you said? She was cooking in the Olympics, though. She really was cooking in the Olympics. If they had a cap, I like to see her as a backup. All right. And then I guess one of our last topics that we're going to speak about, and then I'm going to open up the lines for y'all, and everybody, y'all can open up the lines. Y'all can chime in, request in. So we got 5 vacancies. I have no clue if you're Los Angeles, Atlanta, Connecticut, Dallas, and Washington, who you're thinking about bringing in. It is tough. It is a tough sight to see. The fact that there are not many coaches that they're bringing in right now, and we're gonna see. A lot of people were criticizing the Teresa Weatherspoon fire. I was one of those people. I didn't think she should have got fired. Tanisha Wright was another one. Even Letitia Trammell. This is with their 4th coach in the last 5 years. Like, it's a lot of vacancies in the WNBA. I'm just I want to see who are they going to bring in versus like a recycle coach. They have to play Saxon and see what she has. I mean, they played her a little bit this year. They played her somewhat last year. With that being said, we're gonna open up the lines and we're gonna kind of go from there. So y'all request in. We're gonna open up these lines. And for everybody else on YouTube, that's episode 47. I appreciate that. We're gonna be back tomorrow. I appreciate y'all.